On the coast, in what currently constitutes North Carolina, a group of English settlers founded the Roanoke colony during the late 16th century. By the early 17th century, the colony unexpectedly vanished without a trace. The fate of the settlers has baffled historians, who have proposed ideas ranging from hostile attacks to incorporation into adjacent Native American groups. The fate of the Roanoke colony is still unknown despite countless excavations and studies. Welcome to my channel, Historical Studies. Before diving into the mysteries of history, there is a small reminder. If you are really interested in this kind of information, do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon if you don't want to miss out on our new videos. North Carolina's National Historic Site at Fort Raleigh. The first English colony in North America, Roanoke, established itself here more than 400 years ago. Roanoke is referred to as the Lost Colony since its inhabitants mysteriously disappeared in 1590 after the colony was unexpectedly abandoned. According to author and journalist Andrew Lawler, Roanoke continues to fascinate people because the lost colony remains this mystery that's at the very heart of the origin of our nation. We have no idea exactly what happened in Roanoke, thus we don't know very much about the location. When we think of the formation of the United States of America, we tend to see it in a pretty linear fashion. Colonists showed up, established, and went westward, but in reality, there were several false starts along the road. The colony at Roanoke was one of those. It was a group of individuals who showed up and were prepared to settle. However, one of the major unresolved puzzles in American history is what happened to that colony. By looking at the circumstances surrounding the Roanoke colony's tragic disappearance in the late 16th century, it may be possible to determine what took place for them. According to Andrew Lawler's further explanation, England was a very small, desperately poor island in the 1580s that desperately desired to join the colonization of the Americas, since that is wherever the money was. An English cartographer named John White was hired in 1587 to establish a new settlement on the island of Roanoke, which had already been acquired by a British exploration team 2 years before. White and 117 colonists arrived on Roanoke Island following a hard 2-month journey across the Atlantic Ocean. People from London's middle class made the decision to join this disastrous excursion. Because having land in England was so important and was what determined one's rank, they were anxious to discover new places. However, they were aware that in order to succeed and prosper, they would need more supplies and colonists. John White made the decision to go back to England to acquire the colonists and supplies he required. Andrew Lawler was the source of this concept. Only 3 months after landing on the Roanoke, on August 25, 1587, John White set sail for England with plans to return with aid in less than 6 months. However, a string of battles with the Spanish fleet would postpone White's return trip for 3 years. When John White comes to Roanoke Island in August of 1590, they anchor offshore and arrive too late to set foot ashore because it is already dark. However, John White is relieved when he notices a fire in the distance because he believes the settlers are nearby waiting for him, perhaps even having spotted his ship and lighting a fire. The colonists were supposed to be waiting for White when he returned the following morning in order to assist him, but to his amazement, they were nowhere to be seen. The entire settlement had been left in ruins. When John White returns to Roanoke, there is no sign of anyone, and he discovers that all the houses have been demolished and replaced with a fort that is extremely well built and defendable. This poses a mystery because the fort was not there in 1587, the year he last saw the inhabitants, and the town is now completely deserted. Eventually, John White discovered a mysterious hint that might have revealed the whereabouts of the colonists: the phrase Croton, enigmatically carved into a pillar made of wood. When John White left the colonists in 1587, he advised them to leave a secret token, as he termed it, alone if they intended to depart the town. This appeared to be the solution, letting him know where to look for them. What we now refer to as Hatteras is an island that is 50 miles to the south of where Croton was carved. It is also the name of the Native American tribe that inhabited the area. The island. However, a storm rolled in just as John White was about to leave to look for the colonists and destroyed his ship, forcing him to turn around and head back to England. Sadly, John White was never able to travel back to the New World and look for the missing colonists. However, in the past few decades, archaeologists have conducted significant excavations in an effort to unravel this 400-year-old riddle. A gold ring fashioned in Elizabethan times proved the initial and most significant piece of evidence discovered. This was significant since it seemed to suggest that at least a few of the colonists may have visited a Croatian island. Afterward, another worker started excavating on Hatteras Island, and what they discovered was incredibly fascinating. In a Native American town, they actually uncovered the hilt of an Elizabethan-era sword. It remains still to be seen whether or if this was a lost colonist's property. There might have been assimilation among the Crotons if some did live long enough to start families. Despite extensive archaeology, they have not found any skeletons. They are where? That is a puzzle. They would have this term Croatian if we had discovered dead bodies lying around or other evident traces of a siege or invasion. But did they actually arrive there, and if so, where did they go? What happened to this settlement's inhabitants? The uncertainty is what actually sustains this tale. It's difficult to believe how a colony with over 100 residents could simply vanish into thin air. Did the residents of Roanoke simply opt to migrate somewhere else? Thanks for being to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell us what you think about this video below in the comment section. Let's meet again with a more mysterious video.